The Wave DX has an insane amount of potential. In fact, my first XLR microphone was the Blue Ember, which other than some crackling plosives was very impressive. And I do think there's this common misconception, especially amongst newer content creators, that in order to be successful or sound good as a YouTuber or live streamer, that you need a very expensive audio loop, talking about a microphone and then an audio interface or mixer. And that simply isn't the case. Plug and play USB microphones over the last 5 years have gotten pretty goddamned impressive. And with all the compression that happens when you upload a YouTube video, and definitely with live streaming having to stick to a specific bit rate, usually pretty fucking low, especially if you're on Twitch. Something like this $100 Wave DX, well, this is the white version. I know it's black on the box. We'll talk about that later. Kind of threw me off. That's really all you need. And if you don't want to take the XLR route, then you can check out USB plug and play microphones. I do have a tutorial linked in the description below that helps you install and use a couple of free VST plugins, as well as just some good audio practice, such as using a boom arm and practicing proper plosives and mic etiquette and whatnot. But after switching up my mic game extensively over the last few years, I do have a Shure SM7B. Oddly enough, I'm using this little Mayano over here because I personally like the sound profile of it. Not sponsored by them or anything. But I'm also very curious to test the performance of this microphone, considering it is the first piece of Elgato audio equipment that I've used. I have used all of their other gear. I've got a couple of their lights basking on my skin. I've tested every version of the Stream Deck they put out. Currently got the Plus sitting on my desk, and this is all gear that I bought with my own hard-earned caps, shekels, or ducats. I was about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, accepted into the creator program, so now I do have an exclusive discount code, which will be down there in the description, and that applies to all Elgato gear, this Wave DX microphone included. So without further ado, I know that was a long-winded intro, but we're going to be blowing some hot wind into this microphone, testing it. Not this one, this one. Let's test and review the Wave DX from Elgato. So a quick disclaimer for my audience, the Stallions and Stallionettes, this microphone was sent for review, but this is going to be an honest, comprehensive review. I haven't been paid or told to say anything about it. Elgato doesn't get an early preview of this video, and if there's any cons, shortcomings, or areas of improvement, you're definitely going to hear about it, so these companies make better products over time. As far as the packaging and included accessories, you can see the box isn't fully sealed because I did take a peek in here to make sure nothing was damaged, and also that this was the white version, which I requested, but you get a picture of the black version, but a little sticker here denoting that you do have the white edition. It'd be sick if it was the white version on the box. But as you can see, it's not fully flush, and that's because I actually cannot get it to seat correctly anymore. You're going to see why in just a tick. You do have your quick start guide, top dead center, very simplistic. If you do need further instruction, I do advise checking out the Elgato support section on their website because they do have software instruction manuals with a little bit more detail. For a microphone, this is really all you need. You plug it into an XLR cable, keep it about 3 inches from your suck hole, get to spitting that grease. Here's what I was talking about. The arm sticks off to the side in a really silly way for this packaging, which isn't the best. It's just paper. There's no laser cut foam or anything. This is a budget microphone, and if they want to cut costs in the packaging and then pass that savings on to us, the customer, that's totally fine. But it does make repackaging this, if you're ever gonna resell your microphone or just put it back in the box, really difficult to get it back in there. More documentation shoved down there at the bottom, little plastic sneeze guard. No real efficient way to get into the stuff, the cream back there. You gotta, you gotta explore the box a little bit. There it is. Boom. If you wanted to pause to read some of the key features on the back of the box, let me move my little thumb out of the way. You may do so now. This is just your safety and regulatory information that has to ship with consumer electronic goodies, telling you not to pelt this at your friend's kneecap or anything. The quick start guide I actually do like. English is the primary language, good font, these huge diagrams explaining how to use your microphone. What more can you really ask from an instruction manual? Removing this little plastic sleeve, you will see that this is your arm for mounting to a boom arm, your extension arm, if you will, which is good because a lot of times there is clearance issues on several of the popular boom arms on the market with the bottom of your XLR cable to where you can't swivel it at a good angle to your mouth. This shouldn't have that issue. Also, I do like to see that they did include a standardized 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter in there, which is also a model that has the flat head cutout, which makes getting these out if they get jammed in so much easier. There's also a plastic dial wheel, which you're going to use to jack this down to get the right amount of resistance. The little niblet noblet actually feels pretty good. For a $100 microphone, I expected some real toyish plastics on here, but not so much. The body of the microphone is completely metal. This button doesn't click in whatsoever. I know we're getting into the controls now. The presence button, so you won't pick up a physical click. You just float your hand over there like a damn Jedi. I'm an absolute imbecile, if you will. This is just a cosmetic little dish on the front. This is not a button of any kind. I was talking about how it's a presence sensor. It sure shit looks like it. Cosmetically, it is really ugly to have that on the front. Why not just have it all white? Have the Elgato logo stamped or emblazoned directly on the body. This looks like an afterthought with that little dish on there. That's why I thought it was a button. It's not. Another little complaint I have here is that this is currently jacked down to its tightest on the knob, and I can still rotate this microphone. Sorry, that probably sounds terrible. I can still pretty freely rotate the microphone. Not a lot going on the ass end or the bottom. You just got your 3-prong XLR cable. And where do you actually speak into this microphone? Is it the front? Absolutely not. The receiver, the capsule is going to be right there on the top. So you're going to talk just like this guy, right into the tip of it. Good form, brother. Line it up with your gullet. Setup should be super effortless. Just unplugging my last XLR microphone and plugging in a new one. Do want to take this time to remind all y'all that Elgato does make a couple of boom arms, including a low profile in white and black. And cosmetically, this is part of the reason that I am checking out this microphone is I wanted something all white because I don't use a shotgun mic off of camera. My microphones are always in shot directly in front of my suck hole. So having a white mic and a teal XLR cable and spray painted the pop filter here, although that's not going to be there anymore because that belongs to the Mayano over here, which I've also reviewed on the channel. I don't know why I'm doing this to the shock mount. It really likes that. And I've been using the same mixer for mini moons, mini sols. It is a TC Helicon Go XLR, which I like quite a gosh darn bit, but TC Helicon did announce that they are going to quit software support for the Go XLR. There's potential that this mixer might not work, but not really, because you can just use the older software version. The only problem being eventually the operating system that you're on will no longer fuck with the mixer. It's really sad when that happens.
So sad when that happens.
Especially because this is a really gosh darn good mixer. The easiest, best, and most efficient way to get these on, ladies and gentlemen, is do not back off this set screw or set dish all the way, because when you go to remove your microphone, change it out for a different model, it'll make it much easier to be able to just screw this in and then lightly unscrew your microphone. But to get this on, what I recommend is turning it like this, and then you can kind of jack it on quicker like this. Little tips of the trade. Ooh, cosmetically, I think that looks delicious. That's exactly what I had in mind. White boom arm, teal XLR cable, and then the white mic. This is going to be a little bit of a learning curve because the last microphone I was using, the Mayano over there, was a front capture. I mean, this is a top like the Shure SM7B. Over here in the Go XLR software, much like the Shure SM7B, it is a dynamic, not a condenser, so it does not require 48-volt phantom power. What you want to do is talk a little bit louder than you might ever get is right here in the good, which this actually looks pretty good. Now, this is completely dry. I mean, we're going to be moist throughout the review, but the processing here, there is none. This is a completely dry, so there's no compressor, there is no equalizer, there's no de-esser, there is no vocal effects on this microphone whatsoever. So here is the out-of-the-box sound profile, which nobody that picks up a XLR microphone would leave it in its missionary position configuration, when it is so easy to just double-click this sexy profile that I've set up previously on the channel. Boom, we've got a noise gate cutting out background noise, like my ceiling fan, which isn't on, but my PC fans, they're always on, unless my computer's on fire. An equalizer to give you that radio broadcaster presence without sounding super fucking weird. A compressor, which is by far the most important, and you can immediately tell which one of these streamers and YouTubers have zero experience in the audio engineering department when you jump into their stream and they yell or rage out because they're also pretty poor at games, and it blows your eardrums to the high seas. That should never happen. Whether I'm whispering in your ear, telling you sweet sentimental secrets, or I'm yelling, which I would never do, it's all balanced. It's going to minimize your super loud sounds. It's going to amplify, bring up your low sounds. Let's run a couple of audio tests. It's not a couple, it's actually several. A quick note is that this microphone is requiring the exact same amount of power or juice to get a good sound quality out of as the Shure SM7B, which is pretty notorious for being a difficult mic to power. People tout you need cloud lifters and stuff. If you have a good preamp on board your mixer, I don't use a cloud lifter with my Shure SM7B, and it still sounds very good, even with no background music playing or anything. There's no real hum or buzz word that you sometimes get, but I did want to make note of the fact that it's the exact same decibels of gain that I run on my Shure SM7B. So listening back to the little snippets of audio that I've recorded thus far, I'm not too pleased with the sound profile using my configuration for the Shure SM7B, but in the meantime, we are just going to revert back to the dry settings as I share my screen. Oh, that's my little cheat sheet for all the categories of the microphone review. I made that little template for me so I don't forget anything. I have one for all the reviews, controllers, headsets. But back over here, we're going to go to dry. dry, no processing, please. Let's run the audio tests. Now, I might put some gameplay footage, a little B-roll on screen so you don't have to stare at my suckhole while I do these, because I look a little bit silly, as I'm going to sound pretty goddamn silly as well. Starting with the Semblance, which is a test of those harsh S's. Sandy sells seashells at the seashore and also sells her sentimental secrets to scumbums, scallywags, and sailors. She sounds like a good time to me. Now is going to be a test of the Plosives, which is those hard P's. Peter Piper pickled a pepper in Call of Duty. My gun go pitter patter, pit pap pow. The next one is going to be a test of the proximity. So that proximity effect is when you get closer to the microphone, you get that deep, rich radio broadcaster voice. Hey, welcome to GamerHeaven, you sentimental stallions. This is about 3 inches away from the mic. It's about 6 inches away from the mic. It's about a foot away from the mic. And it's a dynamic, so you should never be further than about 3 inches away, my good friends. Dynamics are really known for their rejection of sound that's not right in front of them. It's going to be the noise rejection from the back and sides. So right now, speaking into the top of the capsule like you're supposed to, but now I'm talking into the front of it. So maybe somebody bought this microphone. Oh, shit. Handling noise. I just hit the XLR cable. But maybe someone bought this microphone, didn't look at the instruction manual, so they're talking into the front of the microphone. This is what they would sound like. This is the side, and this is the back. I'm gonna finish it up with a little typing test, and ideally what we would like is my voice sounding real in focus and then a lot of noise rejection from the mechanical keyboard, although keep in mind, I don't have a very tactile, clicky switches. I did on my last keyboard, but this sucker has got some Gateron quiet boys in there. How was the noise rejection in this microphone? So this is my audio effects, or my profile, my mic profile for the Mayano microphone, my most recent microphone up until this video. How do I sound right about now? Peter Piper pickled a pepper? Sandy still sell those seashores? What? She's not selling the shore, she's at the shore making her sales, which is of seashells. Yeah. I dropped 1 decibel of gain, raised this low cut, modified the mids a little bit. Now keep in mind, if you want to simplify this, you can just do a low, medium, and high band, your bass, your mids, your treble. Fine, but I do like a little bit more customization. Also, I do like the fact that it does break out visually the frequency band. How the hell does this sound? Because thus far, I'm having a really hard time dialing in this microphone to where I sound as I would like to. This may be the winner chicken dinner, at least I'm sure as shit hoping, because I've tried a couple of profiles off cam here, and I'm still not sounding quite like I want. But this is the Shure SM7B profile, but with a reset equalizer to flat or unchanged, untampered with. But you do still have that compressor, the noise gate, and the de-esser. Please let this be it for me. Alrighty, this is my Rode Pod mic profile, which I think is dangerously similar to the Shure SM7B. In fact, at a glance, I can't even see what's different about it, but I'm sure it's a fine tweakage. Do I sound sensual now? This is the landing page. We got our $100 black and white variant, and if you need a mixer, they do have the Wave XLR for $160, which I have yet to review, but I've heard good things. Now over here in downloads, it's going to take you to the software, but not really. It just takes you to the entire downloads page. You need to select your product, but they do break it out by category. That's actually how it should be. There is no software for this microphone. There is for their USB joints and then for their XLR mixer, which makes sense, but I'm already using the Go XLR software, so there's really nothing for me to download for this microphone. As for the pros, cons, and verdict, I am currently running the Rode Pod mic profile, which out of all the tweakage I did in my mixer software, this was the best that I could sound to my ear holes. And I will say that there is noticeably less bass in my voice than something like the Mayano condenser that I've been using, which kind of makes sense because condenser mics generally do pick up more in general, more things you don't want in your room, but also more detail. That's why they're used in music studios and whatnot. But even for a dynamic, I do feel like I sound a little bit overly compressed, squeezed, and even when I was running it in its dry profile with no compressor added, it still had that weird compressed sound to me. That was actually only in the live real-time preview through my mixer software, and then just listening back to the clips through VLC Player or Windows Media Player. But then when I pulled it into my editing software, DaVinci Resolve, they sounded much better. I like it to the point to where I'm actually going to be using it as my new daily, so expect to see this in more videos. I really want to give this microphone a shot because cosmetically it looks really sick on camera, but in the meantime it is linked in the description below alongside an exclusive discount for my audience, as I am now part of that Elgato creator program. Drop in the comment section below what you think of this microphone. How do I sound honestly using this thing? And I'll see you stallions and stallionettes tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers, so this information will reach and assist them as well. Much like the back of the TV, I've got plugs for all of my socials down there in the description below. And your wallet will greatly thank you if you check the description, because there are exclusive discounts on a ton of products, including controllers, KontrolFreeks, keyboards, mouse pads, clothes, and energy drinks. And keep in mind that you, the viewer, keep this channel running. The more stallions and stallionettes trotting around the stable, the better, so mollywop that subscribe button like it owes you money, and we'll have the same amount of fun tomorrow.